Nice.
The guest inherited a rifle from his grandfather, who gave it to him 30 years ago. He knew nothing about the gun, except that it was a .219 zipper caliber. The gun was a high-quality, German-made Schützen rifle, likely made in the late 1800s or early 1900s. The rifle featured beautiful relief carving and game scenes. It also featured metalwork with cherubs and gold inlays. The gun had a Martini-style action and a premier maker's mark, Karl Stiegel, in Munich, Germany. The gun's workmanship was praiseworthy, and it was a beautiful gun from front to back. With its double trigger set system, the gun was a rare and valuable piece, worth preserving and cherishing. Acknowledging the gun's beauty and historical significance, it was estimated at
$800 to $1,500 range. This one's a whole different ballgame. This one would retail today for about $8,000.
Okay. Nice.
Some quite colorful sets of posters are presented on the show today. They're a genre of posters from the early 1900s called work incentive posters. These types of posters were popularized by a company called Charles Mather and were printed in Chicago by the Sheldon Clare Company. Different images are instilled on these posters, each depicting different things, including approaches salesmen of that era could take.
And so each one of these is instilled with an image that would have gone up in businesses to impress upon their salesmen how they could be better salesmen.
Another interesting poster depicts Rodin's thinker in business development.
The thinker wins. And this is a great image. It's got zeppelins and airplanes, cityscapes in the background, these wonderful Art Deco representations of modes of transportation.
These posters collectively depict a snapshot of the 1930s American working class and would be valued at
$400 and $600 each.
Wow. I couldn't even imagine that.
The 1915 South County Fair posters are fascinating pieces of local history from Baraboo, Wisconsin.
The original home, May 19, 1884, where the Ringling Brothers Circus began.
These posters are stock fair posters, which means they were printed as generic images without specific text, allowing fairs in different locations to imprint their details as needed. Each poster features a catalog number used to order them for local events, like the South County Fair in 1915.
Notice that each of these posters has a separate number next to the printer, and they'd say, "I'd like number 10063, please."
Although generic in their depictions, these posters feature vibrant and eye-catching images of fashionable men and women, writers, and scenes that could equally serve as advertisements for clothing stores. While not necessarily depicting actual events at the South County Fair, these posters' colorful and attractive designs were intended to draw attention and are worth
The smaller four images,
The half sheets, yeah.
each with an estimate of $400 to $600.
Okay.
And the two images on the bottom, I would assign an estimate of $800 to $1,200 each.
Good, good.
Brought into the show are Matt Groening's comic artwork by one of his early marketers. This comic artwork was made pre-The Simpsons show that went on for decades and is still going on today. The main piece is the Life in Hell because it is Groening's first issue of his self-created comic books, and he signed on it, including the other original pieces, which are also signed and dated. The market for his comic artwork is evolving because the show is still running, so prices are not fixed. Hence, at an auction, the two pieces of artwork at either side would be $600 to $800 or more, and an insurance value per piece should be about $1,000 to $1,500. For the original comic, which is also the first comic he made, at an auction would conservatively sell at
least $200 to $300 at auction, but who knows what would happen on the day.
This guest inherited this painting from her mother, and it is here on the show. It was painted by Eric Sloane, an American painter who was born in 1905 and died in 1985. He was known for painting New England barns, rustic scenes, and footbridges, but also had a lot of paintings dedicated to sky and seas. This is an original oil-on-masonite painting. Eric Sloane was a prolific painter because he painted about 15,000 works before he died. He started out as an early sign painter, traveling around and eventually enrolled in the Art Students League in New York, where his name was changed to Eric Sloane. Though this painting is not dated, it is clearly signed and titled Sea and Sky Squall Line at the bottom. The painting bears his original initials, Everard Jean Hinrichs, EJH, just above the Sloane. While this painting should be insured for not less than $35,000, the auction estimate would be
$15,000 to $20,000. I would look to a figure of around $35,000 for insurance purposes.
A field trip to the headquarters of the United States Department of State, the Harry S. Truman Building. The building, built in the 20th century, depicts 18th century designs in its interior. On today's episode, we access the diplomatic reception rooms of this great American building. These rooms are the official spaces used by the United States Secretary of State to conduct important diplomatic engagements.
The rooms are the official rooms for the American diplomacy conducted by the Secretary of State, Vice President, and the Cabinet.
And are set up to facilitate easy conversations for diplomatic and international business talks. In one of the fascinating rooms, hung on the wall is a wonderful painting of the Capitol by William McLeod.
A long career, and he was a reasonably prolific painter. But what makes this a great painting and what makes it valuable is not because McLeod painted it. The fact is, it's that early view.
This painting can be dated to the 1840s, and we see Washington, D.C. in its almost pristine state. If this painting of the early view of the United States Capitol were to come up at auction today, it would be worth
$100,000 to $150,000. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
The guest inherited the Zulu spear from his grandfather that came down through his great-great-uncle. It was identified as a Zulu dance spear after noting its unique features like horn handle and bone inlays. Zulu people were the native people of southern Africa before the colonial era. The spear presented a terrific example of Zulu craftsmanship. It was estimated to be from the mid-19th century, dating back to at least 1850. Due to its rich history and extraordinary craftsmanship, the appraiser valued it at...
And at a good auction, I would say $800 to $1,200.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
The guest brought two paintings by Mary Hackett, an artist from Provincetown, Cape Cod, in the 1980s. Hackett was born in 1906 in New York City and spent most of her life in Provincetown, where she was part of a sophisticated art community. The guest had negotiated the price with Hackett's grandson and paid $300 for the first painting, originally priced at $500. It was titled The Guiding Light, a commentary on soap operas, which had a price tag and notes on the back. The second painting, Madonna of the Pigsty, was a self-portrait. It also featured a painting by Hackett's sister on the back titled Mud Flats. Both paintings were oil on artist board and dated back to the 1970s or early 1980s. Each painting proved to be a hidden treasure as their value got appraised at
somewhere in the $3,500 to $4,000 area.
I'm very surprised.
Yeah.
That's great.
Of the numerous exploits of the Second World War, we are presented with a pilot's logbook belonging to William Andrew Wallace, who served in the British Royal Air Force.
Acting RNVR, Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve. So he'd been flying for the Fleet Air Arm.
Yeah.
I mean, he's flying Seafires, which are the Navy version of the Spitfires.
Yeah.
Wallace was part of the British forces that took control of the air during the Normandy landings, popularly referred to as D-Day. Unfortunately, his jet was shot down, but he survived, and this logbook contains detailed accounts of how he navigated the incident.
Shot down over the beachhead at 8:30. Landed near Russie. Walked to American beachhead O, so that's Omaha.
Omaha Beach.
Presented in absolutely wonderful condition, this World War II logbook is worth
£800. And climb.
I'd say that was a good investment.
That was a good investment.
This guest's father, a retired rancher, speculated in the stock market and made significant money. The money made led to this guest's father buying this painting, hoping it would be a good investment. They were fascinated by the works of Calder, the artist, and bought the painting. Alexander Calder, born in 1898, was influenced by Mondrian's abstract style and started creating abstract paintings in the 1920s.
And
About 4 years later, he went to visit the studio of Mondrian, who was famous and known for his abstract paintings.
Calder preferred sculpture, but continued painting throughout his career, known for his geometric shapes and bold colors. This painting, featuring concentric circles and a dramatic composition, embodies Calder's characteristic style.
When you look at his paintings from the 40s to the 70s, you see similar characteristics, which are geometric shapes.
The value of Calder's works has increased over the years. This painting, featuring Calder's characteristic abstract style, would sell for
$50,000.
I'd say that was a good investment.
That was a good.
This guest brought along his great-great-great-uncle's wooden headboard.
I have my great-great-great-uncle's wooden headboard from when he was killed in the Civil War. He was killed during the Battle of Port Hudson during a charge.
A poignant artifact from the American Civil War. His ancestor died in service to his nation during the Battle of Port Hudson, struck down in action during a charge and buried on the battlefield. This headboard was carved and sent to his family as a memorial. Along with the headboard, the collection includes photographs depicting his periods of service and another photograph showing his family retrieving his remains.
This is when the family went down to pick him up. They brought a photographer and took a photograph of his battlefield gravesite before they removed his remains.
This original headboard from the Civil War period stands as a testament to this man's patriotism and service to his nation. The collection, with its deep historical significance and personal narrative, has an estimated value of...
I'd insure the group for $5,000.
Oh, wow. Great. Thank you.
This captivating piece of painting was painted by a prolific artist, Jimmy Ernst, who was an American painter born in Germany.
Yes, he is the son of Max Ernst, who is one of the most important surrealists.
This particular painting from 1959 is emblematic of Ernst's distinctive style from that period. This painting is marked by its characteristic brushwork and the use of gouache for the white areas.
On the back of the watercolor is the number 20.
Today, due to a resurgence of interest in 1950s decorative arts, this painting would sell for...
The value would be $5,000.
That's nice.
You're kidding. In this condition.
In this condition.
The guest's stepdad, a chief warrant officer in World War II, collected military items, including a sword that the guest brought for appraisal. The sword was a presentation-grade staff and field officer sword, model 1850. It featured a U.S. insignia and an eagle on the quillion, which is made in Hartford, Connecticut, by Collins & Company in 1862. It was inscribed with the name Captain Anthony and 17th New York, and has imitation rubies in the eagle's eyes. The appraiser found a picture of Captain Anthony wearing the sword, which was given to him by his soldiers in September 1862. Captain Anthony went on to become the governor of Kansas in 1876. The guest was unaware of the sword's value and had kept it wrapped in a rug under the bed. The sword was in good condition, missing only a small drag, and due to its history and significance, it was appraised at
$3,000.
You're kidding. In this condition.
In this condition.
One of the hardest types of painting to create is landscape paintings, yet this painting by Elmer Wachtel exudes simplicity and expertise.
Beautiful landscape by Elmer Wachtel, who is a California Impressionist, one of the most notable California Impressionist painters.
It's so appealing to the eyes that it immediately draws the attention of admirers. Elmer was a multi-talented painter, and this painting is a testament to that. This painting was crafted between 1910 and 1915.
And it's signed lower left with his stylized signature after his last name.
To draw a painting such as this takes a huge amount of imagination. Given his level of expertise and focus, today this landscape oil painting would auction at...
You could conceivably expect to get $35,000 to $45,000. Insurance value based on that could be somewhere in that $70,000 range.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Our guest brought in 2 sketches by Edward Mitchell Bannister, given to them by a close relative. Edward Mitchell Bannister, born around 1828 in Canada to a black father from Barbados and a white mother of Scottish descent, moved to England in the 1840s. Initially working odd jobs, including as a cook, actor, and barber, Bannister pursued art and won a bronze medal at the Centennial Exhibition in Philadelphia in 1876. Despite attempts to rescind his prize when his race was revealed, fellow artists defended him.
Argued in his favor, and he was able to keep the prize. Great. So once he won that medal, he started getting commissions and recognition, and he was able to be an artist full-time.
Bannister admired the Barbizon School's serene view of nature and incorporated similar elements into his work. Towards the end of his life, his style fell out of favor, and he died in 1901.
In the 1970s, there was a civil rights movement, and that's when there was a resurgence of interest in his work.
One of the sketches shows figures in a scene, while the other, on a repurposed prescription pad, features a landscape with initials in the lower right corner. At auctions, the combined value of these 2 sketches could range from
$2,000 to $4,000, maybe a bit more if we were talking about retail.
There are countless heroic stories from the First World War. This guest great-grandfather served in the British Army during the war.
He was my great-great-grandfather. He fought at the Battle of the Somme, and he was blinded by mustard gas.
He was blinded by mustard gas during the Battle of the Somme and found support through a charity for blind war veterans. This collection includes a manuscript from the charity named St. Dunstan's, with a photograph of the house and various trades being taught to empower blind veterans.
Mat making, basket making, and more importantly, this could be Arthur here, tray making. What was his chosen trade?
The presented tray was crafted by the guest's grandfather, who learned the furniture-making trade. St. Dunstan's, now Blind Veterans UK, displays the strength of the British and their appreciation for their soldiers. What value will this collection, a testament to the British honorable venture, be worth? A man acquired a Colt single-action Army revolver from his father-in-law, a doctor in Wyoming. Originally, the item had belonged to a Texas Ranger who moved to Wyoming and became a sheriff. The revolver was a Colt 6-shot, 45 caliber, single-action Army revolver, also known as the Peacemaker. The appraiser mentioned that this was Colt's most popular product, resembling revolvers used in government service. The revolver was made in 1884, as identified by the serial number on its base.
And there's the patent dates of the revolver, which are much earlier than the date of manufacture.
It featured mother-of-pearl grips, indicative of a private purchase rather than a government-issued firearm. The guest had never sought an appraisal for the revolver before and had kept it in a safety deposit box. Given the information provided, the item was appraised to be...
At auction, I would put a pre-sale estimate on the gun of around $15,000 to $20,000. Wow.
This guest's husband was a terrific and borderline obsessive collector, and she has presented us with his unique collection of Georgian shoe buckles.
Well, my husband, it was his late husband, it was his collection, and he has collected them for over 50 years.
Collected over 50 years, these buckles date back as far as the 18th century. This collection consists of over 1,500 shoe buckles, all of which are masculine. Some are made of silver, which he kept for best, while others are basic, everyday buckles. Preserved in excellent condition, this rare collection of buckles is a family heirloom with an auction value of...
With your collection at £200,000.
Our guest collection features photographs by Eugene Omar Goldbeck, a renowned local photographer. Acquired in the 1970s, the collection began with around 25 to 30 photographs. Eugene Omar Goldbeck, known as America's unofficial military photographer, captured striking images using a circuit camera. One notable photograph depicts the USS Saratoga in the Panama Canal, showcasing Goldbeck's unique technique. Goldbeck was known to approach individuals in groups he photographed, hence the term kidnapper, associated with him. The photographs bear a signature in the lower right corner, crucial for establishing their authenticity and value. Despite Goldbeck's reluctance to sign his work, the guest's husband insisted on the signature for each purchase. Modern prints of Goldbeck's original negatives, these photographs are valued at
$20,000 and $35,000 for the collection. Wow. This is a fantastic group of photographs that couldn't relate more to San Antonio.
This guest is on the show with one of two windows from her grandparents' home in Racine, Wisconsin, for appraisal. The window is Prairie, an architectural style in the American Midwest in the late 19th to early 20th century. Frank Lloyd was well known for making such windows during that period, but it is said that Marion Mahoney Griffin, who worked with Frank, made most of the designs he took credit for. However, they are extraordinary windows with metalwork, dividers, and beautiful colors. A realistic price for the windows at auction would be $2,000 to $3,000 a piece, and as a pair would be
$4,000 to $6,000 for the pair.
Contrary to what you're thinking, this trunk doesn't have treasures inside. It's in fact a Louis Vuitton steamer trunk.
She said that when she was a young woman, she took it on a tour around the world in the 20s, I think.
Which was used in the early 20th century for travel instead of the bags we use nowadays.
So it would have been used to transport your clothing when you went aboard a steamer to travel abroad.
This was used to carry luxury goods and was created around 1915. What's special about this trunk is that it was patented, and this clearly shows that it was created for the rich and wealthy. The steamer trunk is also divided into different compartments for easy arrangements. Given that it was created by a luxury goods maker, this steamer trunk would auction today at...
An auction estimate would be $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow.
This piece takes us back to the wild Old West with cowboys and Indians, their Old West memorabilia from circa 1880, and feature a late 19th century sharpshooter, William Frank Doc Carver. Doc Carver was an American outlaw during the closing years of the American Old West. There's a gold and diamond metal pin given to Carver by the Prince of Wales.
It's said that he shot 153 balls in glass shooting balls in only 11 minutes.
As well as a large format photograph featuring an Indian American called Lakota Indian Rain in the Face. Lastly, there's a portrait of the famous Gang of Three from the Old West period.
Wild Bill Hickok, Texas Jack, Buffalo Bill Cody.
Yes.
This collection of memorabilia from the Old West, featuring some of the most iconic characters from that time period, would auction at...
I would put a value of between $10,000 and $15,000 on it.
During World War II, studios like Disney, Warner Brothers, and Paramount supported the Allies with popular characters. At a commemorative event, several pieces related to Disney's wartime efforts were examined. The first piece features Donald Duck participating in the war effort by throwing a tomato at Hitler from a short film called The Führer's Face, where Donald experiences a nightmare of being a reluctant Nazi.
It's a cartoon where Donald plays a miserable, reluctant Nazi, only to wake up realizing he's been in a horrible nightmare.
Another item, the Disney Dispatch, was a publication sent to Disney employees worldwide during the war, providing updates on global events and Disney's contribution.
Well, this was a one-time issue, Mark, and obviously they didn't issue that many because there was a limited number of Disney employees serving in the military throughout the globe.
In 1943, Disney received numerous requests to use their characters on military patches. One highlighted piece is the mechanical engineer patch featuring a character from Pinocchio. These patches, handcrafted in Italy on leather, symbolize Disney's effort to support the military. As a group, these patches are valued at auction.
At auction, I would definitely keep them together. And as a package, I wouldn't hesitate to estimate them between $2,500 and $3,500.
Well, that's great.
Simple yet magnificent is this Chinese Republic vase. This guest inherited the vase from his mother. The vase, dating back from the Republic period, bears a mark honoring the Qin period, a nod to its superb quality.
When the Chinese Qing dynasty fell in 1911, a new government emerged, which was called the Republic, and that lasted from 1912 to 1949.
Crafted by artisans who transitioned from serving the imperial household to working for private enterprises, this piece symbolizes the Republic's early aspirations of stability and prosperity. Once overlooked, this type of ware has gained significant interest and will sell for...
At auction, this would sell in the range of $5,000 to $8,000.
My goodness, that's quite a return on that investment.
It was purchased at a garage sale in the suburbs of New York, probably around 30 years ago. First published in 1653, Pharmacopoeia Londinensis is an influential work by English herbalist Nicholas Culpeper. Culpeper's Pharmacopoeia Londinensis was a translation of the Latin London Pharmacopoeia by the Royal College of Physicians. It contains English recipes from early authors, including Galen. It includes an index at the back, a table of diseases, and many recipes related to the liver. Lice killeth implies eradication, followed by lice causeth, suggesting their origin, and further discussion on itching ensues. It blended herbal remedies with astrology, reflecting Culpeper's belief in celestial influences on health. It's a Pharmacopoeia Londinensis 6th edition book. Amongst ancient herbal wisdom intertwined with celestial insights, the appraiser valued the item
between $2,000 and $3,000.
Oh, I think it was a good investment on 25
yes,
cents 30 years ago.
Yes, it certainly was a good investment.
There's something about these photographs that makes them so appealing. It's not every day you see photos like these, which are negative yet captivating.
Brought in today are a group of photographs by a very prominent photographer named Edward Curtis.
These orotones are the work of an expert photographer by the name of Edward Curtis. Edward had an interest in Native American culture, and these photos represent that. What's surprising about these photos is that they follow his unique photographic technique, which is called an orotone or gold tone.
The orotone is a special photographic technique. The image is a positive image.
These photographs are well detailed to show expertise. Given their sheer uniqueness, these photographs, or orotones, would auction today at
$5,000 to $7,500 range.
Oh my. Our guest received this miniature 6-board blanket chest from her grandmother as a wedding present. The chest, a cherished piece of American furniture, features a bootjack end design and
blanket chest, of which there were thousands and thousands of them made. Every home in New England had the full-size ones to store their blankets in when they weren't using them.
Inscribed with Joseph Baldwin, 1723, the chest was crafted by Joseph Baldwin of Massachusetts at the age of 21. Baldwin, the guest's ancestor, was traced through her great-grandmother's Daughters of the Revolution certificate. The chest features include rose head nails, snipe hinges, and an original surface, preserving its historical integrity. Despite a small ink spill on the top, the chest remains in pristine condition, showcasing its craftsmanship. A small heart on the top adds a sentimental touch to this meaningful wedding gift. At auction, it could easily fetch a value of
$3,000 to $5,000 for this piece, and there's no telling what people might bid it up to.
A piece of baseball history is what this Yankees team baseball is. This baseball is adorned with the autographs of legendary players who made the 1961 season unforgettable, and one key signature is that of Roger Maris, who broke Babe Ruth's single-season home run record.
The autographs, with some exceptions, are very strong. There is some bleeding, which should be expected from ballpoint pen.
The ball itself is an official American League baseball, which serves as a canvas for these signatures.
Now, this ball is from the 1961 Yankees.
Considering the history attached to this baseball and the autograph on it, at auction would sell for...
At auction, you could expect this ball to sell for $5,000.
Is what?
It's fake.
Really?
It is. Were the signature real, the ball could sell for $15,000.
Oh.
A brigadier general of the Grand Army of the Republic, this guest presented us with a medal belonging to her great-great-grandfather.
He was a brigadier general.
In the Grand Army of the Republic.
Right, right.
The Union veterans of the Civil War were in the Grand Army of the Republic.
He was a Union veteran who served as the commander in the state of Iowa and was instrumental in forming the Grand Army of the Republic. This medal was awarded in celebration of his monumental acts of service. The inscription on the back of the medal bears his name and the date he received the medal in 1886 by a unanimous vote. Additionally, we are presented with a picture of him wearing his celebratory medal and his signal book used during the Civil War.
It's for the Signal Corps. At the start of the Civil War, there was not a Signal Corps. Now we think of radio operators and things like that.
This breathtaking collection of artifacts holds great significance to the history of the American Civil War and is a testament to one man's duty to his nation, valued at...
I'd insure the 3 pieces for $5,000.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
Exhibited on the show is a stoneware jug gifted to the guest and her partner by her mother-in-law.
So I began to wonder whether this was the same maker. The brochure talked about a man by the name of Dave Drake from California.
This piece, crafted by Thomas Chandler, stands as a testament to his remarkable skills.
Chandler was trained in Baltimore and moved to Edgefield in the 1830s.
As one of the most accomplished potters to have worked in the Edgefield district. The stoneware boasts a distinctive drippy glaze known as the alkaline glaze, accompanied by underglaze decoration applied with a slip cup. Remarkably, this stoneware is larger than usual, adding to its allure. However, there are slight discolorations near the base and a chip at its rim. Despite these minor imperfections, Chandler's works remain highly coveted by collectors, thereby elevating its auction value to...
This piece would be somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I had no idea that it would be that much.
Beautiful political artwork acquired with just $20 is brought in for appraisal. This is the re-election poster for McKinley's second term when Roosevelt was taken from his governorship seat in New York to be his running mate. However, the unfortunate incident of McKinley's assassination happened a year after the election, bringing Roosevelt into the presidency. What's profound in this poster is the little vignettes that show the political situation in the 1900s is not that different from the present. The overall premise of this poster is that the administration kept its promise. It also tells a story of what the country was like in 1896 compared to what it was like in 1900. This kind of poster is called a juget because both candidates are on it, which makes it very valuable to political collectors. At a well-publicized auction, a fair estimate for this exceptional poster would be
$3,000 and $4,000.
Okay. This quirky piece has been in the guest family for years, often ridiculed for its unusual appearance. Despite its looks, the family used it as a good luck charm at bingo games. Initially, this piece might be mistaken for an English Martin Brothers creation. However, upon closer inspection, the mark on it reveals it to be French-made from the Sarreguemines pottery, one of the largest potteries ever. Sarreguemines is known for producing diverse pottery and imitating other styles, and this piece can be dated to the late 1880s or 1890s. This figure has an expressive and crazy design. This figure, with its fantastic glaze and unique character, would be valued at auction at
$2,000 to $3,000.
Wow.
Easily.
Let's talk about the oldest oyster house in the country, Atlantic City Landmark. Many people don't know that pearls are the only jewelry formed from living organisms. Yes, they are formed from oysters and mussels after slowly forming inside them. It's interesting that the majority of the time, a beautiful pearl is created from a small irritant, such as a stone.
Man has taken a bead made from the Mississippi pigtail mussel. They insert it surgically into a mollusk, and they put a tiny piece of soft mantle tissue in with it.
These pearls, even though they are obtained easily from live organisms, have to be subjected to other processes to make sure they are top quality. This is to make sure they are top quality and appealing to the buyer of the jewelry.
Triple strand. Again, they're graduated. They have beautiful luster, again, a nice nacre finish. So a necklace like this today would retail for around $20,000.
Each pearl here is used to make a necklace, and these beautiful necklaces retail at...
A pearl like this could be worth upwards of $100,000.
It's amazing.
As one of the defining designers of the Art Nouveau era, Daum Studio created some of the most coveted art glass, and this glass lamp is one of them. This glass, crafted using intricate techniques such as acid etching and cameo glass, displays a delicate interplay of colors and patterns.
Here we have Daum, Nancy, which is where the Daum factory was located, and then France. They were started by a fellow named Jean Daum in 1878 in Nancy.
The base, typically made of fine metalwork, complements the glass with its organic lines and flowing curves. However, this piece reflects the artistic vision of Daum during this influential era and is worth...
I would say retail, we're talking about $5,000 or $6,000 very easily.
All right, thank you very much.
Very good.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to see it. I'm glad you came in.
All right, thank you.
This cowboy hat belonged to this guest's grandfather.
The hat belonged to my grandfather, and he was a member of the Muckletonians, which was a hunting club in Clark County, Kentucky.
Okay. Who was a member of a hunting club in Kentucky. John Batterson Stetson, an American hatter and hat manufacturer, created this exquisite piece. Stetson is popularly known for inventing the cowboy hat in the 1860s. The hat is a classic model of his invention called the Boss of the Plains, which was very popular among cowboys in the 1870s and 1880s. The hat bears an inscription detailing its manufacture. The hat band is made of braided horsehair with a German silver button.
The hat band is made of braided horsehair with a German silver button on it that's actually a copy of a Texas Rangers badge.
And includes an unfinished elk horn of Native American origin. This collection is a typical representation of the tradition of the Old West with an auction value of
$1,000
for the hat?
For just the hat.
Wow.
You don't say. Well, well, well.
This railway book was given to the guest by his father because he loved trains and railroads as a boy. Ackerman was the name of the famous English publisher of color plate books, and this book was one of his productions. Color plate books are those books that are hand-colored views of city views, topography, and travels. An interesting fact about this book is that it views the construction of the first railway station in England that was tied to timetables and carried passengers. This means you could check a schedule and see what time a train was coming, which was unusual at that time. On turning the pages, there are colored views produced by Ackerman to document the railway construction. It is in good shape and in its original binding, which is uncommon for such books. Therefore, a fair auction estimate would be
in the region of $5,000 to $7,000.
You don't say. Well, well, well.
Sometimes the most ordinary boxes hold extraordinary things. Today we have a scale model of an early Adams leaning wheel road grader, which the guest received from his father, who owned a construction company.
And the operator would stand back here, and it would be pulled by either horses or mules or tractors when they came.
This item is known as a salesman's sample, which salesmen would carry around to showcase to potential buyers.
Carry this around in this case and show this machine for them to use to build roads when this part of the country was first being developed.
This wonderful machine features angled wheels and a tag on the side that identifies exactly what it is. This box case, housing a piece of art representing a road-building machine at auction, would bring...
Probably be expecting somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000, so...
Wow. I had no idea.
The guest brought in a brooch, necklace, and earrings bought by her great-grandmother for appraisal. In 1848, some miners mined gold in California, and sometimes they had quartz without enough gold to mine, but enough to make jewelry. Hence, this jewelry is called quartz gold jewelry. At the back of the brooch, there is a pin, a pendant ball, and dangles at the bottom. Looking at the earrings, it is clearly the same style as the brooch and pendant. Clearly, this is an American-made piece because the balls on the earrings match that on the necklace. This jewelry is unsigned and a whole 14-karat gold, and due to its connection with the gold rush San Francisco, it would sell for
$5,000. I am surprised.
The guest brought never-seen-before complete pair of shoe ornamentation straps that looked like a bracelet. Only halves or stretched versions of these straps were seen previously. The straps had clips on the back, which is unusual. The straps were adorned with crystal rhinestones set in lead and base metal. It was impressive that the straps were all intact. A complete pair like this was a unique and rare find, with its value being estimated at $350. The guest's grandmother spiked her interest to become a comb collector.
How many do you think you have? Over 100.
The guest presented a hair comb collection and a box, although the box is not solely for hair combs, but for any other thing named comb. The collection has some hair combs with artistic, unique features, for example, celluloid, which was made to imitate tortoiseshell, which has real garnets set in sterling silver.
With a vermeil back. That's called vermeil. It's gold over the sterling.
Also part of this collection, there's a hair comb called Brass and Glass, which has rhinestones on it, and most of the hair combs displayed were made in France. These beautiful hair combs, having colored stones of good quality, together with the box, has a retail value of...
I would say a conservative estimate, including the case, at about $5,000 to $6,000.
Look at these spurs and you would never know that they are older than you because they were created in 1855. The spurs are fabulous and fine made. They have an American origin and are made from fine silver, which makes them look quite distinct. These spurs are quite top of the line and have the qualities of something given to a highly respected individual.
These spurs bring up a lot of very interesting questions. He did something really important to have gotten these spurs. This is the top of the line spur.
They were to be worn for special events, and it's no wonder they're beautiful. At an auction, these spurs would retail at the value of...
around $5,000.
Well, thank you. This guest presents a fascinating view into the world of a local Victorian sporting hero.
Well, Arthur was the first black professional footballer. He was also the first man to run 100 yards in even time, 10 seconds there. He held the world record for over 3 years.
Through a collection of items that belonged to her great-grandfather, Arthur Wharton. Widely considered the first black professional football player in the world, Wharton was a Gold Coast-born, mixed-race British athlete. Besides his football career, he was an all-around sportsman, claiming the amateur world record of 10 seconds for a 100-yard sprint in the AAA Championship of 1886. This collection includes photographs of Wharton and his personal Bible.
This is his Bible, I understand.
Yeah, it's got Chill Hill College, Cannock, 1882 inside and his name.
Carrying the legacy of this iconic figure and illustrating the struggles of a mixed-race British footballer. Its value is estimated at
300, maybe 500 pounds at auction.
This beautiful violin is a family heirloom that this guest's great-great-great-grandfather traded for a keg of wine.
And he didn't have anything to give to them for their wedding present, so he traded this violin for a keg of wine.
That was a good
wedding.
trade. A good trade.
Gasparo de Fopruger was the maker of this instrument. Born in Germany, he moved to France, where he did most of his work. De Fopruger was one of the first people to produce the violin in its modern form. This original piece is one of the world's first violins, dating back to the mid-19th century.
I, however, think that this is probably one of the original instruments. It was either made in the Vuitton shop.
On the scroll of the violin is a portrait of de Fopruger, and on the back of the instrument is a depiction of the Gate of Prague. Presented in excellent condition, this exceptionally crafted instrument has an auction value of
around $8,000 to $10,000.
The guest's mother bought this item for her while on vacation. This is a pottery plate from Shearwater Pottery in Biloxi, Mississippi, and was made in the 1960s. It comes with an original brochure, which isn't actually worth a lot, but this brochure enhances the value of this item mainly historically and slightly monetarily. This beautiful pottery plate, with its original brochure, doesn't have much cost, but would still sell for...
Guess is that this would probably sell at auction for between $2,000 and $3,000.
Given to this guest as a gift to his wife's family, the guest was able to own this fine piece of web vase. Fascinatingly, the vase is not just randomly made, but features turquoise, small diamonds, and emeralds. Sadly, the emeralds are not real, but are made of glass.
They are glass, which is typical glass on glass.
The vase is referred to as a pitch blow piece.
This is referred to as a peach blow piece, accounting for the color, from going to the pink down to the little lighter pink.
Made circa 1880, the vase is actually a very early work. The pattern on the vase is quite amazing and has a French flavor to it. No signature is found on the piece, so there's no way to attribute it to any particular artist. This wonderful vase, with its unique design and style, would be worth at auction
of $2,500 to $3,500.
Wow. Our guest found this item in Birmingham, noting its old appearance. Purchased for $200, it features a patched area at the bottom, likely added to extend the design. The piece is on silk and includes silk needlework and watercolor. Estimated to date back to the 1830s, this piece is believed to be the work of a well-to-do young girl or woman.
A lot of these were worked by schoolgirls who were going to academies.
Southern needleworks from this period are rare due to factors like humidity, bugs, and light. Despite its age, the piece is in outstanding condition and stands out for its visual appeal. Further research, such as attributing it to a specific academy or tracing it back to a family, at auction, the piece is estimated to fetch...
I would think at auction, this would likely fetch $6,000 to $9,000.
A small collection of memorabilia was brought to the show. The guest acquired it from his grandmother's ranch. This collection includes a signed hat and a book by the artist Ernest Hemingway, an American novelist and short story writer. He visited the ranch where the guest's grandmother was part owner.
Part of 5 different summers between 1928 and 1939. And this is a picture of a cabin that was built for him.
And was kind enough to leave his signature on these items. The hat not only contains Hemingway's signature, but also has some history attached to it.
There are just a lot of people who are of some importance and or happen to stop by and sign the hat.
The ranch where these items came from was a place where important people visited. The book has good value because of the signature and would bring
probably $500 to $750.
While the hat, filled with signatures of many important persons, would be worth...
I think conservatively, this is a $4,000 to $6,000 hat.
Our guest owns an Olivia de Havilland suit worn in the movie Princess O'Rourke. Acquired from a friend of her husband's, who was Debbie Reynolds' assistant, the suit was part of a collection saved by Reynolds and Jane Withers during studio financial troubles. Purchased for $50, the suit comes with a lobby card and...
This photograph you have shows her in a scene from the movie wearing this identical suit.
Yes.
It features a Warner Brothers Studios label with a catalog number specific to the movie. Despite some moth damage, the suit's value lies in its historical significance rather than its condition. Our guest is advised to store it carefully in acid-free tissue to preserve its value. A 1940s suit like this, with its intricate hand-stitching and historical provenance, would typically sell for...
Generally would sell on the market for about $150 to $200 tops. Insurance value would be around $1,500 for the suit.
Oh my God.
This violin, passed down through generations, carries a story of family and musical heritage. Owned by the guest's uncle, who passed away tragically in his youth.
So, of course, there's no bridge right here where we would expect it to be. Right. And the strings are all loose. And so, this is a violin that's been abandoned.
Crafted by Michael Andreas Partel, a renowned Viennese violin maker of the 18th century, 1704 to 1788, it embodies the classic design principles of the Amati family from Cremona, Italy. These forerunners of violin making significantly influenced European instrument makers, and Partel's work reflects their legacy. Amazing wear on the varnish is a mark of time, a genuine patina that speaks to the violin's age and authenticity.
So I'm very comfortable that this is not faked to look like it's 200 some years old.
Unlike modern forgeries that attempt to mimic wear, this instrument carries the honest markings of a life well played. In its current condition, it is estimated between...
This is a violin that has a value of probably $5,000.
Wow, that's great. And lots of sentimental value as well.
As a devoted fan of the Oakland Athletics, this guest has made a collection of bats used in their games.
And these actually came from the visiting clubhouse bat boy, and whenever they were done playing with them or they cracked a bat.
The Oakland Athletics are an American professional baseball team based in Oakland, California. These bats have inscriptions that prove their authenticity, along with numbers issued by the manufacturing company and the player's number in ink, making each bat easily recognizable by its owner. These bats are very significant to the Oakland Athletics team, and to fans and collectors of sports memorabilia, they will be worth...
Has a value of about $2,000.
Wow, much more than I thought.
The guest brought a clock called a carriage clock, a type known for its portability. This particular clock was especially fancy, featuring fluted columns and a beautifully decorated mat in front of the dial. The clock's intricate details made it a standout piece. It was manufactured in France around 1900, specifically for the American market. The appraiser noted its unique features and historical significance, estimating its value at $1,500. Our guest inherited these Staffordshire-style spaniels from a friend who was an animal lover. The spaniels are believed to have originated from either Vermont or Maine in the 1950s, and
I'd always been told they were from the American Rockingham factory.
Dating back to around 1850, these spaniels are a mid-19th century example of this style of pottery. The glaze on these spaniels is described as a Rockingham-style glaze, also known as treacle glaze, which gives them their distinctive appearance. The holes in the bottom of the spaniels are explained as vents used during the firing process to release heat. While similar spaniels are often seen in white with gold accents, these are unique for their Rockingham-type glaze. These spaniels are noted for their size, measuring 16 to 17 inches high, which is larger than the typical spaniel figures. If these spaniels were to be auctioned today, they would likely have an estimated value of...
If these were to come up to auction today, you probably would have an estimate of $2,000 to $3,000.
Huh.
A charming antique writing toy, notable for its unique spring mechanism and beautifully painted base. Originating from the 1860s, it was crafted by Jazzy Crandall, a renowned toy maker from New York City. This toy stands out with its robust, weight-supporting spring. This fascinating toy originally belonged to the current owner's great-grandfather. It has been cherished and enjoyed by multiple generations, including the owner's own children. Every Christmas, it is festively decorated with reindeer, adding to its sentimental value.
We decorate it for Christmas every year. Mm-hmm. Looks great with reindeer antlers.
Despite its age and worn paint, the writing toy remains an impressive piece with elegant, flowing lines. This particular piece, given its condition and history, could easily reach...
I think this one would be easily in that range, and maybe as much as $2,000 at auction. It's just stunning.
When you hear of famous dolls, the first thought that comes to mind is Barbie. But before Barbie ever came into existence, there was the Gibson Girl doll, created by American illustrator Charles Dana Gibson. Unlike Barbie, which is a child doll,
the Gibson Girl was created by an illustrator named Gibson. And he was very prolific and became very wealthy and very socially prominent.
The Gibson Girl doll is made as a sort of decoration for the home. The doll is very well equipped and made from the best materials.
You can tell it's very different from a child doll. She has this long neck and her face is looking up. Her hair is done in a style that an adult woman would have.
The doll's hair is made from goat hair, given it's an original piece and was made in 1915. Today, this Gibson Girl doll would auction at...
between $1,500 and $2,200.
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful.
The item in question is a painting by Francis Calcraft Turner, signed and dated 1835, depicting an early British pointer with a lovely landscape in the background. The painting features a label on the reverse from Arthur Ackerman & Sons, a renowned dealer in sporting pictures. The British, known for their pride in animal husbandry, are reflected in the quality of this artwork.
But the British were very proud of their animals, and they were the first to develop animal husbandry as a science.
The painting came into the family with a piano from a friend's apartment clearance in Manhattan. Despite some condition issues, such as varnish cracking, the painting's charm remains intact. The crackler is believed to be superficial and should disappear with proper cleaning. In its current state, the fascinating painting is estimated to be worth...
It's a lovely picture, which I think probably would bring somewhere between $12,000 and $16,000.
Wow.
The younger generation will never know how bread was toasted in the early days. Unlike nowadays, when toasting is easier and more automated.
Well, it looks like the day it was made. I'm just going to turn it over so we can see where it was made. It has a mark on the bottom telling us that it was made by the Toastrite Company.
In the earlier days, toasting bread was done with the use of blue willow toasters like this one.
Is the condition that it's in. So it almost looks as if it's never been used. And in fact, you have the original cord with it. I'm going to plug it in and we'll watch it get hot.
One of the best features of vintage toasters is that, for a toaster made during the late 1920s, it has maintained its longevity. Another unique feature of this toaster is the blue willow patterns on it, which enhance its appeal. Given that metal is known to rust, this toaster's longevity is astonishing, and it's why in today's auction market, a quality toaster such as this would auction at...
I feel that it's certainly worth over $1,000, and perhaps as much as $2,000.
Well, thank you.
Looking at the unusual patterns on these bags, you can immediately notice they're unique. These bags are called saddle bags, and they were placed behind the saddle of a horse, which is why they were given that name. These bags were crafted in 1870 by the Cheyenne people. The Cheyenne people are Plains Indians of American origin, and their patterns are known to be some of the most distinct and appealing Indian patterns.
Dakota would have used half of that space for their checks, as would the Arapaho. But the Cheyenne used the whole row of beads to build these steps up. Okay.
The saddlebags are patterned in a way that easily identifies them as made by Plains Indians. These bags are one of the finest tribal arts pieces, and they would auction at...
I'm at $10,000 to $15,000. Oh my. So it's a beautiful pair.
Our guest's husband's grandparents left Germany in the 1930s and settled in Bermuda, where they became friends with Albert Einstein, who also resided on the island. Our guest shared pictures from her husband's grandparents' album showing Einstein and her husband's grandfather sailing together in Bermuda. There's also a picture of Einstein's wife, Elsa, in characteristic Bermuda attire. Einstein later met up with the grandparents in New Jersey when he moved to Princeton. He signed a picture for them and personalized a book to them. The appraiser notes the historical significance and personal nature of the items, which include a book with a warm inscription from Einstein, estimated at...
We would estimate at $2,000 to $3,000 at auction. And the photographs we would estimate at $3,000 to $5,000 at auction.